Unlike most of my videos about old mines and towns, this video is a wee bit different. After reading up on some old Colorado mines, I noticed one common thread that all these old mines had, and that was how these mines were all serviced by a railroad called the Gilpin Tramway. And lucky for me, there seemed to be quite a few old pictures in the archives to make what I hope is a decent video. In the summer of 1886, a handful of mining men gathered in Central City with a stubborn problem on their hands. Henry Bolsinger, Bradford Locke, Robert Campbell, Andrew Rogers, and Henry Hawley all knew the same hard truth. Hauling gold-bearing quartz down from the high country mines by wagon was slow, costly, and unreliable. What they needed was something bold, something that could carry ore to the mills in Black Hawk and Central City faster than any mule team could manage. On July 29, 1886, they formed the Gilpin Tramway Company, determined to build a narrow-gauge line that would wind its way through the rugged hills. Less than a year later, their vision was steel on the ground. Grading started in May 1887. The first rails were spiked down on July 1st, and by September 1st, the brand-new Shea Locomotive No. 1 was huffing through Gregory Gulch on its inaugural run. That same month, the tram became a bit of a local wonder. On September 29, 1887, residents of Central City were treated to excursion rides, an unexpected chance to ride the rails that were built to haul gold. The tramway's route was a marvel of persistence. It climbed steep gulches and wound its way across the mountains by means of endless switchbacks, more than any other railroad in the United States. One mine alone required 7 separate switchbacks just to reach it. From Black Hawk, the line curled up through Gregory Gulch, climbed into Central City, and pressed onward into Nevadaville, Quartz Hill, and Russell Gulch. By the winter of 1888, 15.5 miles of track laced across the district. Life at high altitude required some ingenuity. Ore had to be kept warm and dry to avoid freezing solid in the winter months, so the tram built a heated warming house near the engine shed. Inside, the temperature held at a sweltering 120 degrees, thanks to steam pipes and stoves, quite the contrast to the bitter winds outside. The Gilpin Tramway soon became the lifeline for the district's mines. At its height, it serviced nearly 280 mines and mills, with short spurs built to reach specific claims. By 1892, a branch served the Buckley Mine. The next year saw rails laid to the Woods Mine, James Henry Mine, and St. Louis Gunnell. In 1904, another spur reached the Freedom Mine and its mill. The tram relied on a growing fleet of ore cars. The first 20 rolled out in 1887, and more followed steadily through the 1890s until the line operated around 150 cars. Capacities improved as well. Early cars held about 8 tons, while later models could handle up to 12 tons of ore. On a busy day, the tram might move 42 cars, roughly 357 tons, rumbling down toward the mills in Black Hawk. It wasn't long before bigger railroads took notice. In January 1899, the Colorado Central Railroad was absorbed by the Colorado and Southern Railway, and in 1906, the profitable Gilpin Tram was sold to C&S. By 1910, the little line stretched to its maximum, 26.5 miles when every spur and siding was counted. Ore carried by the tram had mostly gone down to Black Hawk, where stamp mills broke quartz with Blake crushers and amalgamation processes coaxed gold from the stone. Smelting, too, was part of the picture. James Lyon and George Pullman tried a smelter in 1865, but it was Professor Nathaniel Hill's plant, built in 1868, that truly succeeded. His works could handle the refractory sulfide ores that had stumped others, and soon Black Hawk earned its nickname, the City of Mills. But the good years could not last forever. The cost of pulling gold from the ground rose higher and higher, while the price of gold itself remained fixed. Traffic on the tram dwindled. On January 17, 1917, the last train rattled down the mountainside, and by June of that year, the line was being torn up for scrap. Beyond the founders, names of miners and operators are sparsely documented in popular sources, but we do know that William Fick, the mayor of Black Hawk, initially opposed laying a third rail to integrate the Gilpin track with the Colorado Central in 1887, fearing economic harm to Teamsters. Eventually, after legal battles and a $450 payment from the tram company, the track remained. Well, folks, that about wraps up this week's video. I hope you enjoyed this story about the Gilpin Tramway. If you enjoyed this story, you just might want to see my video on Central City, Colorado. It talks about a lot of the mines that the Gilpin Tram serviced. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.